Happy Saturday, everyone. This is Coriel Kramer, professional animal communicator and intuitive, and I am here with the Animal Experience Season 2. So, so I'm here with also Episode 2 of Season 2. And I decided that the last month went so well with you choosing the topic that I was going to make it a thing. What I was going to do was I was going to make this every single month. Unless you guys, I don't get any votes, then I'll probably just pick it myself. But I'll give you 3 to 4 topics, and you guys can choose which ones you want to see each month. And people seem to like that because a lot of you choose topics that I wasn't gonna even kind of like think about doing until later on. But case in point is this topic, which is about karma. And I was gonna actually think about maybe doing this later on in the season, but you guys wanted to see it, so here we go. First off, I want to thank Elizabeth Foley. She can be found on Facebook. She's an amazing person. She's also an angelologist, and she's a spiritual teacher. And she thought up and gave me the suggestion for this subject last year when I was doing season 1. So I had it on the books for this year, and so it was all of her. It's all her fault, in a good way. It's a great topic. So let's get to it. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and let's get to karma. So the first thing that I want to address is what is karma, because there's a lot of misconceptions about it, I think. And I think it's become convoluted. I think it's become very much like the boogeyman, kind of like ego. Ooh, don't let ego get you. So I don't let karma get you. It's all karma. Karma's a bitch. All this kind of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to kind of clear it up. So I went to 2 sources. Number one is the very logical source, and the other one was the very metaphysical, or straight from the horse's or the yogi's mouth, so to speak. So first, what I want to do is I want to say Webster. I went to Webster's dictionary online, and Webster defines karma as, quote, the force generated by a person's actions held in Hinduism and Buddhism to perpetuate transmigration and in its ethical consequences to determine the nature of a person's next existence. Now, that's a lot to say, okay? So then I said, all right, let's simplify it even more. Let's go to Yogananda's website. So I went to Yogi Yogananda's website, and, for those of you who don't know, he was a great man in Hinduism, and he was a great teacher, and I figured let me get the Hindu side of karma. So this is what he said, and I quote, karma is the law of cause and effect. It is an action, whether physical, and I found this very interesting, whether physical or mental, individual, or performed by a group. And each action has consequences. Now that simplifies it up a little bit even more. My interpretation of karma, and for those of you who know me, I like to keep things simple. Okay? So my thing and my interpretation of karma simply is this. You do actions only from the head. When you do actions only from the head, you usually get karma drama. All right? But if you do actions from the head and the heart, when it lines up and your head is lined up with your heart, that's drama, karma, kama. So it's much more kama. It's much more calming. It's much more relaxing. It's much more easy. That's what karma is for me, because what it is that when we do aligned actions, when we do actions that come from our head, we reason it out, and then it feels right in our heart, we're lined up with it. So we're lined up with the actions, and it's true because when we're talking from our heart and we're doing actions from our heart, that's a direct communication to God, to divine, to the oneness is what animals call it. And you'll hear me talking more about that in a little bit. So that's my simplification. When you do actions from your head, you get drama. When you do actions from your head and your heart, you get karma. You get lined up. You're lined up and ready to go. So I hope that kind of clears up what karma is. So when I went to, interestingly enough, the reason I'm going into this next subject is because I think it really delves deeper into the way animals see karma. So this is also from Yogananda's website. How is one free of karma? The site goes on to state, by one accepting God, Goddess, universe, and the guidance from within, rather than being guided by desire, which is the head. The desire is usually when we're thinking about stuff. This is something I really, really want. I want it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try for it. I'm going to make it happen. It's the head. Desire comes usually from the head. So the more, and it goes on to say, the more one's life is guided from within, the greater one's control over outer events in one's life. As long as one is acting on divine guidance rather than ego, and again, let's call it the head as opposed to the ego. As long as one is acting on divine guidance rather than from the head, one accrues no more karma, and it is eventually dissipated. So basically, it's essentially from what I said, which is when you come from your head with your actions and it's not lined up with your heart, you're probably going to, you're not lined up with it. You're not going with the flow of it. And thus, it's probably going to be a really bumpy ride, if that makes sense. When you are lined up with it with your head and your heart, you are making that sacred connection between divine and between you as a being. And when that happens, you have this communication from divine, this greater communication from divine in your being. And so you are lined up with it. So let's get to the animals. So animals, do animals have karma drama, is what I call it. Do animals, this is my thing, do animals believe in karma? Yes, absolutely they do. Okay. But it's much less complicated than humans. Yeah, I know. Surprise, surprise. We complicate the heck out of everything. See, what animals believe in is in their core, and I'm going to try to explain this because it's more of a feeling. So I'm trying to put words, when I connect to animal kind and the animal consciousness, it's hard to describe because it's more of a feeling than anything else. But I'm going to try to put words into it. So they believe in their core, animals believe that leading a good life is something they are meant to do. Now, when I say meant, I mean they believe that it's theirs to take from the oneness any and every time. Meaning it's theirs to have anytime they want it. That the opportunity to live a good life is always there. It's just right there. It's just, there's no big deal. There's nothing they have to do but just line up with it. So this is why the animals line up so easily with things like healing and letting go of trauma and drama. And I've talked about this in past episodes in season 1. So go back and listen to that about how animals see abuse, how it doesn't define them because they believe that they are owed, and I hate that word, that's not the right word. It is their God-given right to have a good life, to live a good life. They don't doubt it. They believe in it with their entire being. It's a beautiful way of seeing life. So they know they are worthy. They know that they are stepping into the good. and it's always right there for them for the taking. So that's why they're always lined up. That's why I'm doing time after time. I did a session on how animals are healing. They want to feel better. They want to feel good. They don't hem and haw about it like humans do. They don't wonder if they're worthy. They know they're worthy, and they let go of their crap, and they want to feel good as soon as possible because they believe it is a promise that was given to them from the oneness, which is what they call God or the universe or goddess. It is a promise that every single being on this planet is given to the universe for them to enjoy and have a good life. So even if they're going through a terrible time, and I've talked to animals who have gone through abuse, horrible abuse, yes, many times, they will always hold on to the positive. Animals who are going through for example, a few years ago, there were these whales. They were trapped under the ice. It was a horrible situation. Everybody said it was a horrible situation. I connected to these whales. They were incredible. Yes, they were going through this dire, scary experience. They kept trying to they just could only get the air through this one hole, for days on end, hours on end. They're just going up and down, and that's all they could do is this one hole until humans started, hitting the holes and making holes towards the sea. Eventually they went to the sea. In that entire freaking time, when I connected to those whales, they always knew, they never doubted that even through the fear, they never ever doubted that they deserved the good life. They knew that the actions they were doing were right, were coming from the heart, not from the head, but from the heart and the head. The reason they had to go through the holes. Okay, we have to go through the hole, but that doesn't mean that I know that we're worthy. I know that this is not happening to us because we need to suffer or we need to learn a lesson or anything else like that. This is just happening. So what are we going to do about it? I mean, it's pretty incredible when they were going through all that. So even though an animal goes through a terrible time many times, they will always hold on to the positive. I've talked to animals again and again and again. The light of the good always becomes what they gravitate to. They will always be ready to step into the goodness of life whenever it shows itself to them. They're waiting for it. Even when they're going through the dire time, those whales were going through a dire time, they were waiting for the goodness because they knew not that it was coming, but that we're worthy of it. So yes, animals believe in karma, but they don't unless they get stuck in the mentality. Meaning if they get stuck in this mental loop of being stuck in their trauma. And I've had animals like that. But when they are shown the way out, unlike humans who a lot of times we're like, I don't know, is this the door? Isn't it the door? Is this the door to the way out? I don't know if I want to go in. Am I ready? I don't know if I'm ready. Animals are just like, no, let's go. I'm going through the door. I want to feel better. I deserve a good life. Let's do this. So unless they get stuck in there mentally, they're ready to go. They are constantly always connected to the oneness, to God, to the universe, to all that is. Do you get that? I mean, that's important. That humans spend hours, years, decades wasting time overthinking stuff. And I do this too. I'm not saying it's just you guys. I do this too. And I have to get this clarity sometimes, but then I remember the clarity of the animals and karma, and it's pretty incredible. So we're overthinking, we're torturing ourselves over and over about things that if we simply let go of, like the animals, they don't question it. They just, okay, I'm ready to let go, let's go. Whoop, I'm stepping over here to the good life. Let it go. Whatever happened, it's in the past, doesn't define me. We're dragging stuff around like Samsonite luggage, So animals have no excuses. They have no buts. They have no couldas. They have no shouldas. They have no wouldas. They have no maybes. They're just like yes or no, yes and no, yes and no. For them, they're always sitting in the pocket of opportunity of good things coming their way. So they do have karma. They don't hang on to the drama. They understand that it's about them lining up with their thoughts and their actions. And it's something that they don't even think about. It's something that they can teach us to be how to do, easily, how to step into it, how to stop overthinking. So to wrap this up, animals teach us how to let go of things, how to do aligned actions, which are actions that come both from the mind and from the soul. They teach us how to step into our worthiness. They can teach us how to be present to the oneness all the time, or how to let go of the things of the past things that we did or that was done to us. Who cares? It's made us who we are today. It's just a small part, and it's not that big of a fat, hairy deal. That's what the animals can teach us about this stuff. That's what the animals are free to show us. The animals are our teachers to show us how to have a happy, joyous, and free life. And animals are supposed to be the ones that are lesser beings, that think less, that can't reason, they're only instinctual. I don't think so. So that's a little bit about what's going on with the karma and the drama and animals and karma. I'm going to have next week, I'm going to change things up a little bit. And I'm going to try to do this, or not next week, next month. I'm going to have some topics that I think are really being asked for by people without them actually asking, if that makes sense, about their animals. And not only about things that are going on with your animal, but how you can fix them. What you can do to help them, what you can do to make them feel better. What is it? So things like, what you could do for them metaphysically as well as physically, as well as allopathically, as well as energetically, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be, I think, an interesting choice of topics. So I hope everybody has enjoyed the show. I am going to, this month's episode, I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm going to look at the questions in the comments at the end, and please post your comments, post your questions. Let me know if you like the show. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what you think of the episode. Let me know what you think of me. Not that it's a big deal, because, if you like me, great. If you don't like me, great. Don't care either way, but, whatever. It's nice to know what's going on. And, we're going to be back next month, first Saturday of every month, always at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. You got to figure out what that is your time, because I'm not going down that road. It's just a little bit too much. But I want to thank everybody for joining us this month, and this episode. It's been an incredible experience both last year and now this year, and I'm enjoying it immensely. And until next time, I wish you and your animals nothing but the best and a wide array of wonderful, beautiful experiences.